Welcome to the Life After 50 show. I'm Katherine Watson, and I'll be your host today. I am really excited to be here. Today's show is sponsored by FindHoustonSeniorCare.com. Find Houston Senior Care is a web directory for the local Houston and surrounding areas. Everything you need to know about elder care or senior living can be found at FindHoustonSeniorCare.com. So as I entered my 50s, I started realizing there was a lot I didn't know about the second half of my life. There were a lot of opportunities showing up, and there were a lot of challenges showing up. Today, we're going to talk about some of those opportunities and some of those challenges. Today, I'm going to talk with two experts in the field of elder care. Both of these ladies I've known for a while and have a lot of respect for. We're going to be discussing independent living versus assisted living. How do you know which one is the right choice? And when is it time for independent living? When is it time for assisted living? We're going to answer these questions and so much more. So we're going to start out with independent living because as we age, we begin to transition, and we would naturally transition to an independent phase at the beginning, hopefully. So I'm going to bring up Kathy Snyder, or Kathleen Snyder. Kathy, I'm really excited to have you here today, and I'm going to bring her on up into the broadcast now. So, Kathy, hi, Kathy. How are you?
Good morning, Catherine. Good morning.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I was looking at what to say about Kathy. I've known her for a while, and I looked on the website, and she has a quote that I just loved. It says, "Worry about nothing, pray about everything." Boy, is that
Absolutely
true. that is such a great quote. I love it. And she says, yeah.
That's my life mantra.
And I was just getting ready to say that. She says it's her life mantra. And she has been a caregiver, haven't you? You've been a caregiver
Yes,
for grandmother lived with you when you were younger. And I know you cared for your dad, and now your mother has dementia and lives here in Houston, and you oversee her care. So you've kind of walked through those steps a lot in your own family. And like many of us, that's what led you into this business, isn't it?
Yes, it is. In fact, I wish that independent living was available to us as an option in Springfield, Ohio, where my parents were when I was taking care of them. I wish that had been a step that they could have embraced along the path.
Yeah, I wish it would have been for my parents too. The industry has changed so much in the last 10 years, even the last 5 years. It's changing all the time. And I think a lot of people don't understand really what independent living is. Can you just talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, first of all, what independent living is not is a place where they take care of you. Everybody's in wheelchairs and on oxygen and things like that. That is a myth that people seem to feel like as soon as they leave their homes, they're going into a nursing home environment or something like that. And that's not the case at all. Independent living is actually folks move in here that have planned well for retirement and are just done taking care of their own homes. And maybe they're widows or widowers, and they could use some more socialization. Perhaps they're tired of cooking for themselves, or they're tired of cleaning their own house. Independent living offers an environment for folks that are doing well cognitively and have fairly good health, that just want to get together with other individuals of similar values and similar care needs, and just go on with their life and live worry-free. We like
So
to call it a cruise ship on land.
and if you have not been, Kathy, I failed to mention, Kathy is with Park Creek Independent Living in Cypress, Texas. And if you're in that area and you have not visited, you need to stop by. It is like a cruise ship on land. It is beautiful. The apartments are beautiful. It's just really a nice atmosphere. Tell us, Kathy, a little bit more about why somebody would want to choose this as an option.
Well, again, a lot of the residents that have moved in here and are thriving are typically ones, again, that have planned well for retirement and are looking for more of a social life. They're looking
Mhm.
for activities every day. They're looking for a nice pool. In fact, we just started water aerobics last Thursday and they loved it. Um, something to be, some entertainment, and again, no cooking, no cleaning, no housekeeping, none of that. So
And you don't have to
folks,
maintain the pool either, do you?
no, that's right.
My husband would be in for that.
We actually have a few of our ladies that are hoping that we're going to have a cabana boy soon, but we don't have that yet.
Hey, I think that would be a big plus.
Yeah.
So great. So tell me, there is a lot of confusion out there because I see a lot of senior apartments. Some of them are called 55 plus or 60 plus, independent living. The names get all mixed together and confusing. Could you please explain the differences and what people should look for and ask for?
Yes, ma'am. So there is a difference between senior apartments and independent living. And the difference is basically that in senior apartments, it is an apartment complex that you have to be a certain age to move into. Once you move to independent living, then that's when you get into more of a all-inclusive type environment where your meals are included, the housekeeping, the activities, transportation, um, things like that. We actually offer a call pendant as well, included in our rent, and it's not a buy-in type environment. An independent living, our independent living is a you have a community fee and then a month-to-month rent. You're not locked in for any amount of time. Um, in a senior apartment, you usually have a year or two lease. Here, you sign a lease, but that basically guarantees your rent is the same for the year. If you should decide to move on to another, or you need to move on to a different care level, or you want to move out of state, it's just a 30-day notice. If you do need a different care level, of course, there's no penalty for that at all. So if something happens and you need to change your scenario.
That's good to know. I don't think a lot of people realize that. So you're not locked into anything long term. That's, a fear I've heard a lot of times from seniors that, when I've mentioned something about independent living, they're afraid that they're going to have to spend a lot of money. They're thinking about the old buy-in plans, which are
Right.
still out there, but kind of starting to go away from what I'm seeing. I'm seeing more of the model like you have, where it's totally independent. Now, can somebody drive if they live there? Do they have access to their own car? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. Actually, 95% of our residents have their own car here. We have covered parking available in garages, and then, of course, open parking everywhere. The bus that we have is used mostly for group trips and group outings, things like that. But most of our people do, in fact, still have their cars. So
Mhm.
again, back to independence. So.
A few years back, my mother-in-law lived in independent living for a few years, and uh, there was even several people there that were still working and living in
Mhm.
independent living. And I've got a good friend who lives out of state. She has also recently moved into an independent living facility because she said, "I'm single. I don't have any children." And that's a common theme right now. We've got a lot of single ladies out there that don't have children. And
Mhm.
she said, "I want to be in a place where I feel safe, where I feel comfortable, and where I don't have to do everything myself." I
Exactly.
can, if I want to cook, I can cook. If I don't want to cook, I don't have to cook because they do have meals available. So that's, I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize about independent living.
Well, and the benefit, I will say, our food is actually very, very good. We've we've managed to coerce some folks away from other communities because our food is so good. So
hmm And for those seniors who do still like to maybe have a dinner party in their apartment, your apartments are well equipped for that, right?
absolutely, we have some gorgeous.
Wow.
We have actually 9 different floor plans, so it's a beautiful community. I mean,
hmm
we have a lot of events here, both for the residents and for the public. We had a great car show a couple months ago that over 150 people came to see the cars in the building, and so it's a very vibrant lifestyle here.
hmm And what kind of activities, as far as y'all going on trips, what kind of trips do y'all take?
Oh, of course, we have the lunch bunch where there's a group of gals that like to go out to lunch every week. They pick a new place. And of course, we go to the grocery store and CVS and doctors and all of that. But we're working on an Astros game. We're going to the
hmm
theater. It's basically resident driven. So
Yeah,
who
yeah.
whatever they want to do, we'll find a way to do it. So
And that's great because I know, a lot of people that are, you know, I hate to even say age because age really doesn't matter. It's about health.
mhm.
But people that are in their maybe 70s that are doing well, pretty well physically, but maybe they don't like driving at night anymore. But
Mhm.
they would love to go to the theater. They would love to be able to go to an Astros game. They would love to do some of these things, but they don't do them living in their own home because they just don't want to drive themselves at night. So, and most of their
Yeah.
friends are in the same situation. And that's, I think, one of the big benefits of being in one of these communities is you have a group of people to go and do these things with.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the driving because somebody will take care of that for you. I love
Mhm.
that.
Mhm. Yep. We also have, speaking of evening events, we've got a group of guys that have gotten together and started with their own little poker game. So,
Great, great.
yeah,
So, one thing too, you do have on site a home care company, don't you?
we do. We have a very good company that's doing quite well for us. Hearts at Home Senior Care is on site for us. They take care of med reminders. Some families just want their folks to have a little reminder to take their medications each day, and they take care of that for us. They also walk dogs. They'll do extra laundry or do the laundry if the resident just tired of doing that too. They'll take care of it. They can take them on trips as well, and it's been a pet sitting. They do things like that, and of course, if we have somebody we had a lady that just had knee surgery recently,
I
and
was
so
thinking about that. Yes.
yeah, so they were able to be her extra hands for a week or so once she got back from rehab. So
And because they're right there on site, you can or hire them in smaller time allotments, right?
exactly, a lot of your home
Yeah.
care companies require a minimum of 4 hours at a time, and these folks will do that, but they'll split it into 15-minute wellness checks and things like that. So it's been
Yeah.
very, very good for us and very good for our residents. So
So independent living kind of gives some peace of mind to the family too, to know, hey, mom's in a safe, secure place. She's having fun. She's able to still be active and independent and on her own. But yet, if something happens, there's a service there that's available that can help out.
that is exactly correct. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny that a lot of the families that bring their mother or father here, or both, will say that you might have to coerce these folks out of the room. They don't really like to be social, and what happens is they're the first ones at all the events because they didn't really have anybody to play with at home. So now they're
Right.
out and about. They're very very
Uh,
social. It's a
that's
very social
great.
environment. So
Good, good, good. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for being here. We're going to bring you back up towards the end, so hang in. We're going to move
okay,
Kathy back into the lobby,
thank you.
and I'm going to bring Tamra Strikey up. Tamra Hold on, let me get my notes here. I know about Tamra. I've known Tamra for a long time, probably since I've been in the senior living industry in Houston. We connected, and she is has an interesting background because she's been in this industry for 28 years. Let me bring her on up. And I can't believe she's been in it for 28 years because she looks so young.
Oh,
but she
I started when I was 2.
I think you must have.
That's what I tell people, at least.
Yeah. So Tamara, she's worked in all areas. She's worked in independent, she's worked in assisted living, she's worked in memory care, skilled nursing, home health care. She's covered it. So she's got a plethora of knowledge about this industry, and she's worked with families in so many different situations. So it's really great to have you on the show today, Tamara. Thank you
so
for
much
being
for having
here.
Me. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
So we're going to talk with Tamra about assisted living. Tamra is with Belmont Village at Hunters Creek, and that is in Houston. Mm-hmm. She is working there as in marketing, correct?
Yes, community relations, you bet.
Community relations. And she has, Belmont Village has both assisted living and memory care. We're going to focus more on the assisted living here today, but we are going to touch on memory care because that's a big part of why people start asking the question, is it time? So Tamra, if you would just please talk to us about that time thing. How do we know when it's time? That is such a tough question for families.
It is. And that the answer to that question varies so much with every individual in their situation. Assisted living kind of builds on what Kathy was just talking about in independent living. But when you start seeing, especially with caregivers, whether it's an adult child, whether it's a private caregiver that's hired, you start seeing that someone needs some assistance, maybe with bathing, dressing, grooming, medications. That's a huge thing anymore. So we're finding that so many people, unfortunately, kind of wait a little long to make some of these decisions, when having that extra assistance there to help out can actually help them remain independent longer. So that is what we like to do, is kind of promote keeping people as independent as possible, but yet providing that support for daily living. So another key component to kind of look at in making those decisions, because, and I always tell people, I appreciate the fact of staying home, right? We all love home, but so many people, you see not only the physical health, but the mental health go down as well a little bit when they don't have that socialization. In a community environment, an assisted living environment, you've got so many components that come together to help create that independence and the most in the best environment. So your hydration is so much better because you have folks there kind of looking out for it and making it easy to stay hydrated, which, as you know, you can get into some other healthcare issues if you're not hydrating properly. Same thing with nutrition. Sometimes sitting at home, it's like, I'll just make a little sandwich or a cup of soup or whatever, because you don't want to cook a lot when it's just yourself. But having that good quality nutrition, again, feeds your body, feeds your cells, and that's what's going to help keep you healthier longer. The big component that I'm such a fan of is the socialization aspect. Having people around you, and not all the time. And I don't ever like someone to think, that they have to be a social butterfly in the middle of everything all the time, because there are a lot of folks who are very private and are not social butterflies. But the nice thing is you can still have that passive interaction, but get involved when you like. But you've got those invitations and the staff and professionals there to help get you involved in whatever way is comfortable. So we are very person-centered in our programming at Belmont Village.
What does that mean exactly, Tamra? Please explain that for our viewers.
Sure. It's not, we have great programming. Our programming, so much went into it. And that's one reason I love Belmont Village so much. I've been with a lot of different companies, but they know how to do it right. Because when you sit there and look at the person and their history, what they did in their life as a career, I mean, our careers, that's what we do for what, a good 40, 50 years even. So many of us are wired towards different environments. What, say, an accountant or an engineer or, someone who's very meticulous in what they do, they may not love the same thing that, someone else loves. So when we can sit there and hook people up together and create those friendships and those bonds and programming around who they are as a person, and now they've got someone their own age and similar experiences to really do things with and be involved with. You see that depression. You see some of the that socialization that they weren't necessarily getting at home. We'd like to kind of pull it back out of them again and give them that environment. Just even if it's someone just to eat with and enjoy, they're going to eat more, eat healthier because they've got that in their life. And it really, truly makes a big difference. So we like to say we're kind of that starter button for not just the healthcare component. We have 24/7 nurses, med techs, and experts, even in our dementia training. One program I particularly love that is Belmont Villages is called Circle of Friends. And as you had said, Catherine, it's kind of that in between assisted living and memory care, which is like secured memory care. We found that was a real need because not everyone needs just secured memory care, which is more moderate to advanced.
That's something I want to really touch on too, because I see a lot of times people that, the families are afraid because maybe something has happened. Maybe mom forgot to take her medicines and then there was an incident. She ended up in the hospital and they think that she needs to be in a fully locked in secured unit. And in reality, that is not the place at all for mom. So I think assisted living sometimes can fit a broader range of people. There's so many people out there with cognitive challenges, but not necessarily full-blown Alzheimer's or dementia. And they don't necessarily need that locked facility. My kind of feeling on that is, and I'd like to know what you think about this, but my kind of feeling on that is if somebody is not a wander risk and they're not having a lot of huge behavioral problems, they probably would do better in an assisted living environment than a full memory care.
And it's very, yes, the short answer to that is yes. How someone chooses an assisted living is really important because there's a lot of different styles of assisted living. Again, the person you just described is the perfect circle of friends type of resident because they don't need that secured area, but they do need someone there to help guide them. And what I mean by guide them is just, again, getting them into the right programming, having those extra cues and reminders, or even assistance to getting to the activities. That's huge. When you're in a little more independent, you don't have that extra staff and people there who are trained to help guide them to activities. So sometimes, seniors can kind of talk themselves out of it because it can be a little too overwhelming. On where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? I know I'm supposed to be somewhere right now, kind of thing. And us being able to get them there is half of the battle. And it's not even a battle, but it's such an assistance. You see that anxiety come down in them because
Right.
they're like, excellent. I wanted to go and be a part of this and be a part with my friends, which is important. I think a huge part of it too is especially with couples that gets sometimes left out of the conversation, but we don't age at the same rate and pace.
Right.
And you have a lot of couples where one needs a little more help than the other. The one may be very independent, but what happens so often is that healthier one actually ends up needing a lot more care than the one who was needing the assistance in the first place because they wear themselves out. Maybe physically, emotionally, the stress of just trying to manage it all. So I love when we can have couples come in. One can live independently. They can stay together. They don't have to split up just because one might have, whether it's physical or behavioral issues, they can still stay together, but we can then bring the one who needs that extra programming for Circle of Friends for memory care. We can bring them into that programming, and it gives the healthier spouse just that break to still get what they want to get done or go and run errands and not have to worry about, I can't really leave, even just to go grab groceries or go to lunch with one of my old, friends or something like that. So it really helps take that pressure off of the spouse and then also off of the family. Gives them some peace of mind because caregiving is tough. And especially when, as an adult child, you're working and you're trying to also worry about mom and dad and take care of them. So that's our biggest thing.
Been there, done that. So I definitely know. And when we did transition my mother-in-law into assisted living, it did relieve a lot of the stress and the worry that she was, now in the right environment.
Yes.
So we don't have but a minute or two left. I do want to bring Kathy back up here and just see if there's anything else that we need to discuss before we leave. So I'm going to bring Kathy back up into the...
And Catherine, I do want to let you know, on our website, the Belmont Village website, we have, it's just this information piece. It's called Choosing Senior Living, and it's very general. It actually discusses every level of care, the options, much like Kathy had pointed out before, from independent 55 plus, CCRCs, the whole works. So it's a great tool, to really help as a resource for folks. So they can go to the Belmont Village site and be able to get that as well. Or feel free to contact me.
I'm going to put the websites for both of y'all up for just a second. So it's belmontvillage.com. And then for assisted living, for Park Creek Independent Living, we have cypressseniors.com. So both of those are excellent websites to go to. Thank you both for being on the program today. We really, really appreciate it. And
thanks for having us.
Thank you. So this is Catherine Watson. I'm going to be signing off now, but next week, we have got Jen Torres with the Arthritis Foundation. She's going to be talking to us. That ought to be a really good show. So please tune in. Then we have, let's see, who do I have after that? Annette Piper, life coach. She's going to be talking about navigating the challenges and changes in midlife. So I know that's going to talk to a lot of people. The end of the month, we've got Lacey Fox and Barry Crispin. They're with A Sacred Choice. We're going to be talking about funerals. I know it's not something you want to talk about, but we need to have this conversation. So do tune in, even if you're just a fly on the wall listening. Get the information so you can make the best choices. So it's Catherine Watson. Find Houston Senior Care is our sponsor today. And we are happy to have Kathleen Snyder and Tamra Strikey come and join us today. We've gotten so much good information, guys. Y'all have been awesome. Is there any last thing that you want to say, Kathy?
I'm going to do a little selfless plug. We do have a Summer of Confidence series that's starting on the 15th. That's a great event for folks over 50, everything from lifestyle hacks, being stressed, kicking sugar habit, things like that, eating for
Sounds
energy. Yeah, so I recommend.
Is that
we'll have
open to the
all
public?
posted. That is open to the public, and the tickets are still available for that. So.
Great.
And then,
So
of
you can
course,
contact Kathy.
Your event
Tamra.
for the Facebook on the 14th. You'll be here doing the Facebook is Here to Stay event.
Yes.
On the 14th.
Great. Tamra?
I just invite everyone to feel free to give me a call at Belmont Village Hunters Creek, or go to the Belmont Village website. There's so many great resources and information there on every different type of level of care, and a good blog as well. So feel free to contact us if we can be a resource and help in any way.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
It's great.
Oh.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, everybody. So join us back next Monday for the Life After 50 show. It's what you need to know. I'm Catherine Watson, your show host and the owner of Find Houston Senior Care, your one-stop shop in Houston for anything senior living and senior care related. Thanks so much for showing up.